It's been a long day of thinking and writing. Oops, I'm going to move my mic. Hope that doesn't make a bunch of noise. Um, of reading, or not, yeah, reading, writing, thinking, reaching out to people. So I hope I can give this topic some justice, but I really felt the need, or not need, the urge, the desire to talk about this. I was out on my walk a couple of hours ago, and I made the mistake of going out on the deck to, hang out on my yoga mat because I tend to go, I think it's nap time. So then it shuts everything down for the day, and I'm determined to explore this because I am just at the same time, we always need breaks, but at the same time, I'm so excited. I just want it born already. So, okay, so I was out on my walk and I was thinking about this whole idea of shoulds and what we should do. And I think it's because I was told by a family member, it was suggested, and I realized the suggestion is out of love and out of concern for, are you going to have money, Carla? Are you going to be able to pay your bills? And is this the project you should be working on right now? This, as well as my practice, which has never ever been conventional. I've actually I've one time I've had jobs, yeah, but most of the time I've been an entrepreneur, a writer, and creating experiences for people. So, leading creative writing workshops. I've been doing that since I got my first degree, and my son was only 9 months old, and I have always done things like that just spark me as something fun to do. Like I had a card company, a greeting card company that didn't do anything. I probably paid to have that business. And I always had some money though. Like I had like a something else, on the side that I was doing that I would actually have some income. But, I had children in between. I was doing a master's degree. I was, like everything was sort of like intertwined, right? Like any life would be. But I one time had a position at a university that was regular, right? Where I like, but it was temporary because I was taking over for a head of a department, right, in women's studies department for, and it was a program called I can't remember now, the psychology of women, or the university certificate in counseling women, right? That was the program. And so that was cool. And so for 5 years in a row, I actually kept taking more and more contracts and just, working full time there while we built our house. So that was cool, have a regular income. People can kind of relax in my life and know that, everything's going to be okay. Like there's no risks being taken, and I've got that regular income, and it looks pretty good on the outside, like, oh, you're in with the university and you could get more jobs if once you're in, and you know all that kind of stuff. But so I had a suggestion by a family member yesterday saying, "Hey, they need teachers in Saskatchewan. They're short. You ever think about teaching?" And I was like, "Well, I'm always teaching. That's what I do." But no, I don't want to go into the school system. I'm also not trained. I don't have an education degree. I have a lot of teaching experience and like different, expertise in different areas, if you want to call it that. But that's not what I'm doing. And so the reason why I go through all that is because I was thinking about that on a walk, and it can be tough, when you're a writer or you do things like I do with my programs that are about taking back your health and power, and about, like mountains rising from earthquakes, and doing having experiential programs that allow people to not just theorize or learn or like book learning, but to experience the actual healing itself. And even through these books that I'm writing, I'm going to do a little piece about that too, like why I have music in them, and what particular music, and why that's so important in the way that I'm reading it and the way that I'm structuring everything. It's all premeditated. It's premeditated. So I'm walking and thinking, I could be, daunted by that. I could feel limited by that. I could feel that people aren't, like, that this particular person is not seeing what this is. Like, this is a purpose. This is huge. And this is what I truly desire to be doing. And we don't give ourselves the permission to do that for the most part. And this is part of the Western realm, the Western world, the Western culture, is that we don't give ourselves the permission to just live the way we want to live and do what we want to do. In one of my programs, I actually told the participants and I said, like, okay, look, here's an experiment. For the whole week, just do what you want to do every moment. Like, don't do anything you don't want to do. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And that, like, if you think about that, it's like, what? That's scary. Like, what if I don't want to change my kid's diaper? What if I don't want to pay that bill? What if I don't want to, go to work at all? And you know what it does? It gives you some perspective, a really good view of what things you are doing because you were told to do them or feel obligated to do it. And it's not to say that everything that we don't want to do isn't necessary in this world that we live in, because the world we live in requires us to pay our bills and our taxes, and it requires us to, do things as a means to an end, right? But if we look at it, we can actually see that there's probably a really good percentage of those things that we're doing every single day that we actually don't need to do, or that we need to do for now, but can work on a way to no longer have to do that, right? So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about the reason why I'm writing a fictional series of books, exploring and playing with and questioning this whole way of life in the Western realm, and how blinding and disempowered it can have us feel, or not have us. It's not like we're victims, but how we can feel within it. And so I want to just say, like, I want to pose this to you. And this is a topic that we actually did in one of my creative writing workshops too, is this question of not fact or fiction, but fiction or fact. And the idea, and I think it's actually not just an idea, it's the truth that this is all a game. And the more we read a fiction, or the more we engage in that in different lifestyles outside of what we're told to do, the more we explore this whole, like, question of, do I want to do this or not, and why do I do the things that I do? The more we do that and be more introspective, the more we can see that the things that we have created, that we call our lives, and that we have to do, and that we, instead of being, we're just doing all the time, we realize it's a game. Now, remember when you were a child and you were playing house, or you were playing, like school, or you were, okay, let's just use those, or you're playing doctor, okay? And you're pretending to do this and pretending to do that. And I suppose the stakes weren't necessarily as high, like, I mean, okay, let's say you're playing doctor, like, people couldn't die, right? Like, if you just made a mistake, like, you're just pretending. But really, like, okay, let's use let's use examples of, like, playing house or playing school. And you're setting up your little rulers, for school, and you're putting the books here and there, and you're, setting up this classroom, and you have little, like, you have students, and someone's the teacher, and we're just playing, right? Well, how different is that from doing that in your life, like how we do it as adults? How different, truly, how different is that? Well, someone might say, well, you're actually learning something. Well, yeah, you can actually learn, like we're playing, like you learn something. You also learn things from all different kinds of ways. And so if you actually really pull back and you see a lot of these things, even when you're getting a degree, someone set the rules. Someone, said like, well, you read these particular books and that equals this degree because that's what we say is going to earn that for you. It's just someone made it up. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter, but someone made it up, and we can make up anything. We can make up anything to say, I got a degree in parenting. I got a degree in life. I got a degree in how to be a good person. Like I read this XYZ books and I passed XYZ tests, and this is what tells the world that I'm a good person, parent, smart, you know, person, worthy, like all that stuff. We make it up. And it's a game. And I don't mean necessarily that, game in a way that like, it's not like necessarily flippant in the way I'm saying it. I'm not trying to be flippant, and I'm not trying to minimize the anguish that can come from losing, right? This game, or feeling the pressure of being in this game. I want in my writing for people to see that when you see that it's a game, you can relax, maybe for some of it, when it's not life or death. You can make your own rules. You can adjust the rules and bend them. We did this all the time. like, and actually just think about how you play games, even just playing games. Are you someone who's able to adjust the rules for any age group? Right? Like my kids used to play games that said 8 and up, and they were 5. It's like because we adjusted things, and then when they were older, or we said like it said 4 players, I'm like, well, we're gonna do teams and have 8, or like anything like that. We would just adjust it and adjust it. It's like it's a game, man. Like, so let's just adjust the rules. We make the rules. So, and think about this too, how let's get into like a real life situation. So we've got a life like the Western realm where you're supposed to go and make money. So most of your day is spent chasing the dollar. And then you make the money and you don't have a lot of time to enjoy it because all you're doing really most of the day is making money. Now, not everybody feels this. This is not to say everybody in our current Western culture is dissatisfied with life. I'm not saying that. I'm saying though that there's these rules that we all know, and some people break them and some don't, and some people feel very suffocated and constricted by them. So let's say this is like the typical thing that makes people feel safe. Okay, how about this? This is the safe life. You get a job, you work your job, and you be, like you do the right schooling and you get that degree, and the people that get the degrees make more money, and the people who don't get those degrees make less money, and the people who get the degrees, their work is more valuable, and the people who don't get the degrees and maybe don't have a different kind of education in their life, they don't actually, their work is not as valuable, like all these different things. Okay, so it could be like, let's just say that's your standard life. You have a couple of kids, you save up for retirement, you retire, and that's when you go have fun. Okay, you have a vacation maybe once every couple years that you take your kids on, and you forget the rest of your life for a little bit. And sometimes maybe on the weekends you go do something fun, but it's mostly like, you kind of play by the rules so that you are winning the game. There's no uncertainty. There's insurance we buy, all that kind of stuff, right? And okay, now let's contrast that with a life that is possible, right? Let's say in the Eastern realm, and maybe the kids are not in a formal education system. They learn from following around their elders and their siblings and their cousins, and they live in a more like community based settlements or lifestyle, right? So they don't all have to have their own house that they bought, right? Like some of them live in a multi-generational family, unit or something, or They don't need a bunch of stuff, and everything that they have is crafted. They've built it. Like, and any of this stuff would seem in our current reality to be very strange. Like, if you've ever seen the movie Captain Fantastic, it was actually quite interesting how he raised his children. Now he was some people would consider him to be very extreme, but then in the end he sort of like concedes to his children going to school, and they still live where they live, but they go to school and all this kind of stuff. But that's another story for another time. But those kind of lifestyles are seen to be extreme now, which I think, like, if you just stop and think about it, what's extreme about just picking your own berries, hunting your own food, like building your own house? How is that extreme? It might be something people don't understand how to do anymore. And it's very different from what we are told is what we should do. What's more civilized, what's more, I don't know, progressive, I guess we could say. But how are we? Are we? I mean, are we more progressive, or is there something else, So if you just think about that, just question that. I'm not, how is that extreme to just want to live a simple life? Or how is that extreme to say, you know what? As long as we're all contributing, why wouldn't you want to live in a multi-generational like home that everybody helps each other? And it's easier, and we don't have to hire someone else to care for our children. We care for each other's children. And again, this is not meant to be a judgment. It's not meant to be, it's meant to be an exploration of the fact that this is all a game. It's all a story that we write. And I'm just really enjoying digging into that and turning that all on its head, really, so that, again, we can reimagine, right? A more beautiful world. Yeah, reimagining that more beautiful world. So, yeah, it's all a game. It's a game. So, how do we want to play?